Let's talk about predictive programming. So what is predictive programming? Predictive programming is a subtle form of psychological conditioning provided by the media to acquaint the public with planned societal changes to be implemented. If and when these changes are put through, the public will already be familiarized with them and will accept them as natural progression, thus lessening any possible public resistance and commotion. Predictive programming therefore may be considered as a veiled form of primitive mass manipulation or mind control. So to dumb that down, it's basically when certain things are put in media, movies, and cartoons to psychologically prepare society for a drastic change, using subliminal messages and imagery. Here's one example. All these images you see here are before 9/11/2001. At the bottom right corner, you see an image from an Iron Man cartoon in 1994 of a plane blowing up the Pentagon. Then you see The Simpsons, and The Simpsons are notorious for predicting things. Right, you can see on the magazine 9/11, showing the Twin Towers. Then you see a Spider-Man comic book with the Twin Towers being destroyed. Then at the top right-hand corner is a Supertramp album cover. And as you can see, you see the numbers 9/11 next to the Twin Towers. Then you see more comic strips showing a plane destroying the Twin Towers. Then you see Sesame Street in 1976 destroying the Twin Towers. These playing cards you see here are from the deck called Illuminati Card Game. It was made in the year 1995, and this card game is meant for children 12 and up. And these two cards I found were very interesting. One shows the Pentagon being blown up, another card shows the Twin Towers being blown up. Very interesting. This is a pretty good example of predictive programming, preparing society for drastic societal changes, making us more sedated, more passive about these crazy changes, and we become less resistant because of the subliminal messaging. Here's another one. Who could this possibly be? Enough is enough. That face looks familiar on the card. And that charismatic leader? Very interesting. Here's a current example I found. You guys remember these Snapchat filters from 2017? With the whole mask thing? This was about 4 years ago. Here's more images. Here's another image. And another one. Using subliminal messages to normalize drastic societal changes. Since 2020, when you walk into a store or some kind of establishment or schools, what do you see now? And it's pretty normal. Most people have already accepted it. That's what predictive programming is all about. It's psychological conditioning, preparing society for planned drastic societal changes. Another strange example is occult symbols being bombarded in children's cartoons. Why? So what if the Simpsons aren't predicting anything, but they're going off a script? Weird stuff.
Say, legendary gambler. He bets on everything, anything, huge cash bets all the time. Once the Bellagio put Bill Gates out of the high roller suite because Lee Wan was flying in. He is the perfect Vic.
How did you know who he was gonna pick?
We told him to. We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel room, we've been priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long. On the elevator, in the lobby, even the stick pin on the doormat. Not only that, we loaded his route from the hotel to the stadium. He looks out the window, primers are everywhere. Now he doesn't see it, but he does. There's no getting around it. He even sees Farhad. Suggestions are everywhere, from the number of flowers in a vase to the tramp stamp on the we sent to his room last night.
That is genius.
Yeah, and it's not only what he sees, it's what he hears. The Mandarin word for 5 is woo. There are 124 woo-woos in sympathy for the devil. Now he's not registering it, but it's all there. So when he picks up those binoculars, looks out on the field, sees a familiar face with the number 55 on his jersey, some little voice in the back of his mind says, that's it. And he thinks it's intuition, and he picks.
Do you want me to write it down?
And you, being in the dark, was the convincer. We call that the little blind mouse.
Predictive programming.
I'm out here. Oh,
crazy. I'm crazy.
This terrible disaster.
In the 1985 classic Back to the Future, at a scene called the Twin Pines Mall, we will bear witness to a sudden surprise terrorist attack, perpetrated by a group of terrorists. The attack is at the Twin, which is a reference to the Twin Towers. When we turn the sign upside down, the digits on the clock read 911 or 911. The Twin Pines are a symbolic representation of the Twin Towers. Before the terrorist attack, the twins are present, but after the attack, the twins are gone, replaced with a single pine. This takes place on 9/11, where the twins are destroyed and replaced with a single tower, the One World Trade Building. Also at this scene, Doc shows us two stopwatches, both of which display encoded 9/11s. Is this only a coincidence? The pines are the towers, and this symbol system is confirmed in Back to the Future Part 2, where we see the twin pines appear again on a projection movie screen in Marty's future house. Marty's family gathers around the movie screen, and the twin pines actually morph into the twin towers. This is because the twin pines are the twin towers. The pines are the towers. Pines, towers. And the Twin Pines Mall is the Twin Towers Mall, which is why all the clocks here secretly say 9/11 and why there will be a terrorist attack resulting in the destruction of the Twin Pines, or the Twin Towers. But the appearance of the towers is not a random backdrop, as we can see the Statue of Liberty lurking just as secretly as the towers, making this scene a secret recreation of New York City, where Marty's family has gathered to stare at Ground Zero. Of these three characters staring at Ground Zero, one of them is completely upside down. But in the entire Back to the Future saga, this is the only time when an upside-down character will ever appear. The hint being given here is to observe the scene from his perspective by turning it upside down. But when doing so, the Twin Towers are clearly shown to be falling down. In the entire history of cinema, this scene of Back to the Future is the most literal depiction ever made showing the Twin Towers falling down. So how is it possible that this scene would occur in a story that already contains a terrorist attack at the twins on 9/11, where the twins are the Twin Towers, which then execute Hollywood's best depiction of the Twin Towers' collapse? But Back to the Future doesn't just portray this